Sam Blazkowski ran 9.89 seconds in the 100-meter dash this season. That time put him in the same conversation as the fastest men in America. He had already run at the USA Championships more than once, indoors, outdoors, and at the Olympic trials. But now, Sam is not running for America anymore. He just switched his allegiance to Poland. And the reason he made that move shows exactly why so many fast Americans never get the chance to shine on the biggest stage. Sam's last name gives away the connection. Under international track rules, an athlete can switch countries if one of their parents was born there and holds citizenship there, as long as that athlete never competed for their home country at a senior level. Sam went to USA trials many times. He just never made the final team. That loophole is now his ticket to a completely different career. Sam's story did not start easy. He went to a Division III college in Wisconsin, not a big school with scholarships and hype. He won national titles there and slowly worked his way up until he was training with Star Athletics, one of the top pro groups in the sport. He trains next to names like Christian Coleman, Kenny Bednarek, and Courtney Lindsay. This season he ran the fastest times of his entire career in both the 100-meter and 200-meter dash. He earned every bit of this moment. Then came the meet that changed everything. Sam flew to a Diamond League event in Silesia, Poland, still running for Star Athletics and still listed as an American at the time. He ran in the heats but did not make the final. Worse for his USA hopes, he did not even finish in the top 3 among the American runners in that race. Making the top 3 against your own countrymen is the only thing that matters if you want to wear the red, white, and blue on the world stage. Sam missed it. But here is the twist that explains everything. In that same race stood Dominik Kope, the fastest sprinter Poland has produced in decades. Kope finished dead last in the field. Sam, the guy who could not crack the top 3 Americans, had already run faster than the best Poland has ever had. Think about that for a second. He was not good enough for Team USA, but he was already better than an entire nation's best sprinter ever. That gap is the whole story. This is where the phrase "almost had no choice" really means something. American sprinting right now is stacked with talent at a level that feels unfair. Noah Lyles and Kenny Bednarek already have their spots locked for LA 2028. Kerley and Erriyon Knighton are holding the door on the remaining spots, and both walked into this year already proven on the world stage. Christian Coleman is right there too, a former world champion fighting just to stay in the mix. Every single one of these men has already beaten the entire world at some point. That is the bar. Not being fast. Being faster than every non-American on the planet, every single year, with almost no room for error. Sam is part of a newer wave of sprinters trying to break through that wall, alongside runners like Jordan Anthony. Some of them will make it. Most will spend years chasing a spot that never opens. Sam watched teammates at Star Athletics, like Aaron Brown, already compete for other countries such as Canada, and collect medals doing it. That was the blueprint sitting right in front of him the whole time. Now picture the difference in what happens next for Sam. As an American, his whole year would depend on beating a stacked field just to make a national final, then beating that same field again at trials, with almost zero margin for a bad day. As Poland's new fastest man ever, his path looks nothing like that. He does not need to get faster than he already is. He just needs to stay healthy. Poland has never had a sprinter break 10 seconds flat in the 100-meter before Sam did it. He is already their record. That alone likely locks him into representing them at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, without grinding through the brutal trials system that almost broke his American dream. Here is the part that stings the most for fans who followed his rise. Sam never wanted to leave. He built his whole identity running for American colleges and an American high school. He chose to stay loyal to his Division III school even when the transfer portal opened the door to bigger programs. But loyalty does not pay bills, and staying unattached in this sport happens to plenty of runners who make USA finals and still cannot find sponsorship. Some quietly walk away from the sport entirely after years of just missing the cut. Compare that to what just happened at the European Championships, where a sprinter who has never even broken 10 seconds walked away with a gold medal. Meanwhile, at the USA Championships this year, the final came down to times like 9.79, 9.88, and 9.89, and even that was not enough for a medal. Same sport, same distance, completely different level of difficulty, depending on which flag you run under. That difference is exactly why Sam made the jump. So what does this mean for every other fast American still chasing an Olympic dream? It means the depth at the top is not slowing down before LA 2028. It means more sprinters sitting just outside the podium might start looking at family trees and passports instead of just training harder. And it means Sam Blazkowski, the runner who could not crack the top 3 in his own country, is now on a clear path to the 2028 Olympics, wearing colors nobody expected, whether he ever runs a single second faster than he already has. He is already the fastest man Poland has ever produced. The only question left is how far he goes from here, and how many more Americans quietly follow the same path before LA 2028 even begins.
Two men who have both been called the fastest human on the planet are lining up at the same starting line in Paris today. One of them won Olympic gold here 2 years ago, the other won it 3 years before that, and right now, in the 2026 season, only one of them looks like he belongs in the same conversation as the very best sprinters alive. This is the Paris Diamond League, the 8th stop of the Wanda Diamond League season, held at Stade Sébastien Charlotte, and the 100-meter race today is one of the most analytically interesting fields we have seen all year. Let's start with the number that frames everything happening today. On June 19th, Seville from Jamaica ran 9.82 seconds at the Jamaican National Championships to claim his first national title and take the 2026 world lead. Seville is the reigning world champion. He is not in Paris today, and that is exactly the point. Every man on this start list is chasing a time set by someone who did not even bother to show up. That is the backdrop for everything. Noah Lyles arrives in Paris undefeated outdoors in 2026. On June 4th at the Golden Gala Pietro Manea in Rome, he ran 9.88 seconds to win a field that included an Olympic champion, an African record holder, and the world indoor champion. That was his 30th career sub 10-second run, placing him 12th all-time in that category. He is 28 years old. He has broken 10 seconds across 8 different seasons and gone sub-20 in the 200 meters for 10 consecutive years. The only man in history with more combined sub-10 and sub-20 seasons is Usain Bolt with 22. Lyles is currently at 18 and closing fast. Then, 2 weeks after Rome, he went to Ostrava and broke the world record over a 150 meters with a time of 14.67 seconds, taking down Kashane Thompson's previous record by a full quarter of a second. His final 100 meters in that race was clocked at 8.85 seconds. That is not a closing split. That is a different gear entirely. What makes Lyles dangerous specifically in Paris is his record at this venue. He has never lost a 100-meter race here. In 2023, at this same stadium, he beat Ferdinand Omanyala into a slight headwind in 9.97. In 2024, he won Olympic gold at the Stade de France in 9.79 seconds, beating Kashane Thompson by just 0.05 of a second. His closing 40 meters in that Olympic final was the fastest he had ever run that split in his life. In Rome this season, the data tells the same story. Jordan Anthony, the world indoor 60-meter champion, hit 60 meters in 6.39 seconds and led the race. Lyles was at 6.42 through the same mark. By the finish line, Lyles had covered the final 40 meters in 3.39 seconds and won by a street. That second half is where races go to die when Noah Lyles is in them. Analysts believe if he opens in 6.43 to 6.44 today, a sub 9.80 is realistic. That would move him above Seville on the world list heading into the World Athletics Ultimate Championship in Budapest in September. Then there is Marcel Jacobs. Born in El Paso, Texas, raised in Rome, Jacobs spent years as a long jumper before switching to sprinting in 2019. At that point, his 100-meter personal best was 10.03 seconds. Nobody outside Italy had heard of him. Then, at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, he ran 9.80 seconds in the final, a new European record to win gold. Italy had never won the Olympic men's 100-meter title before. Days later, he anchored Italy to relay gold as well. He was 26 years old, had been a serious sprinter for just over 2 years, and he was the fastest man on the planet. What followed was brutal. Injuries, missed races, a withdrawal from the 2022 World Championship semifinals in Oregon, and a 10.21 in 7th place at this very stadium in 2023, the same race Lyles won in 9.97. That single result told the whole story of where each man stood at that moment. Jacobs rebuilt. He moved to Jacksonville, Florida, and started training under coach Rana Reeder, the same man who works with Trayvon Bromell and Andre DeGrasse. He won the European Championship 100-meter title for the second time in 2024 at the Stadio Olimpico in front of his home crowd in Rome. Then at the Paris 2024 Olympics, he ran a season best of 9.85 seconds in the final, finishing 5th in one of the deepest sprint fields in history. He came back without a medal, but proved something more important. He can compete with the best in the world when his body holds together. Coming into today, his 2026 season best is 9.99 seconds, run in Rome on June 4th, where he finished 5th, his first sub-10 since 2024. He is currently ranked 30th in the world, 27 places below Lyles. On paper, he is not the favorite, but Jacobs told the Associated Press before the Paris 2024 Olympics, "It's good because I can stay under the radar. I can do my preparation, my race, without thinking about what the other people think about me." The rest of this field cannot be dismissed either. Trayvon Bromell ran 9.85 seconds into a slight tailwind at the Lignano Grand Prix just weeks ago, beating Seville in that race, and said afterward he felt sluggish and did not transition well. If that was sluggish, a sharp version of Bromell runs 9.84 or faster today. Ferdinand Omanyala of Kenya holds the African record at 9.77 seconds. The 63. That number right there just rewrote the history of women's sprinting. Not at the Olympics, not at a Diamond League final, in a preliminary heat at a college meet. A 20-year-old just became the 5th fastest woman ever to run the 100 meters, and she did it before the actual race even started. Her name is Adaejah Hodge. She runs for the University of Georgia, and what she did in Eugene, Oregon on June 11, 2026 is something the sport of track and field has never seen from a college athlete. To understand the scale of this, you need to hold one number in your head, 10.75. That was the NSA collegiate record in the women's 100 meters, set by Sha'Carri Richardson back in 2019 as a freshman at LSU. For 7 years, nobody touched it. Multiple Olympic cycles came and went. Dozens of the fastest women on the planet came through the college system. That record did not move. People assumed it might stand for another decade. Then, Adaejah Hodge stepped on the track and destroyed it by 0.112 seconds. In a sport where winning margins are measured in thousandths of a second, row 1012 is a canyon. That is not breaking a record, that is erasing it. Hodge was born on May 13, 2006, in Tortola, a small island in the British Virgin Islands, a territory of fewer than 35,000 people. At age 9, her family relocated to Douglasville, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. She grew up in the American sprint system, but always raced under the VI flag internationally, and that dual identity would shape everything. By high school, she had transferred to Montverde Academy in Florida, a track powerhouse, and the talent became impossible to ignore. At 15, she swept the 100 metis, 200 metis, and long jump at the 2022 Carifta Games, and became the first British Virgin Islander ever to win the Austin Seeley Award, given to the meet's most outstanding athlete. At 16, she set the World U20 indoor 200 metis record at 22.33 seconds. At 17, she made the 200 me semifinals at the World Athletics Championships in Budapest against full professionals. At 18, she walked into the 2024 Paris Olympics, carrying her nation's flag at the opening ceremony, and reached the 200 me semifinals. Then everything stopped. In August 2024, Hodge tested positive for GW50516, a metabolic modulator classified as a banned substance by the Athletics Integrity Unit. Her gold and silver medals from the World U20 Championships in Lima were stripped. But the full story matters here. Her coach at Montverde Track Club, Gerald Fury, had administered the substance. Hodge, teammate Isama Singa, and Skylar Franklin were all affected. The IU found no intentional wrongdoing. She cooperated with the broader investigation, and her ban was reduced from 24 months down to 17. But those 17 months meant no 2025 INSA championships, no world championships in Tokyo, no racing while her rivals built momentum, and the internet had already decided who she was. When the suspension was publicly announced in March 2026, she addressed it directly. She called it fuel, and she had already proven it, because the announcement came just 2 days after she won her first NCAA indoor title. Her reinstatement came in January 2026. She was back for less than a week when she ran 22.53 at the Razorback Invitational sensational, a world lead. She kept dropping time indoors, won the SEC indoor title, and on March 14th at the NCAA Indoor Championships in Fayetteville, she lined up in the 200 meters final against Jamesia Ford, the two-time defending champion, India Mayberry, the 2025 title holder, and Tia Kerley, who had not lost all season. Hodge ran 22.22 seconds, a world lead and facility record, and left every one of them behind. Then in April, at the Tom Jones Memorial in Gainesville, she clocked 10.77 in the 100 meters, a BV national record and second fastest ever in NCAA history, sitting just 0.02 seconds from Richardson's mark. The warning shot was fired. Barely anyone outside the sport noticed. Hayward Field, June 11th. The meet was already historic the day before. Jacoby Tharp of Auburn had broken the outright world record in the 110 meters hurdles at 12.75 seconds. The conditions for the women's 100 meters semis were close to perfect 77F. A legal tailwind of plus 1.9 m/, the maximum allowed is 2.0. Hodge exploded off the blocks in the opening heat, hit top gear, and simply disappeared from the field. She crossed the line, and the clock read 10.63. Second place, Shanti Jackson of El Sioux, ran 10.88, a personal best, and it wasn't even close. The only 4 women in history who have run faster than Hodge that day: Florence Griffith Joyner, Elaine Thompson-Hara, Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, and Melissa Jefferson Wooden. And critically, Sha'Carri Richardson's own personal best, the time she ran when she won the 2023 World Championship title, is 10.65. A college sophomore just ran faster in a heat than the reigning world champion has ever run in her career. Hodge did not win the 100 meters final 2 days later. Shanice Walker of Florida State took that title in 10.88. Hodge finished second in 10.93. But what she did next is what tells you everything about who she actually is. Hours after that loss, she came back out for the 200 meters final. Headwind of minus 0.4 ms, no weather help at all. She attacked the curve, stayed tall into the straight, and pulled away. 21,068 seconds. That demolished Abby Steiner's collegiate record of 21.80 set in 2022, and it tied Melissa Jefferson Wooden as the 8th fastest woman in history at 200 meters. For context, the 2024 Olympic gold medal in the 200 meters was won by Gabrielle Thomas in 21.83. Hodge ran faster, into a headwind, at a college meet. Those 18 points she delivered, 8 for second in the 100 meters, 10 for winning the 200 meters, were the spine of Georgia's championship, total of 50 points, enough to hold off Florida at 43 and Arkansas at 38, and claim their second straight NCAA outdoor title. The world record in the 100 meters is 10.49 seconds, set by Florence Griffith Joyner at the 1988 U.S. Olympic Trials. It is one of the oldest records in all of sport. Hodge is 0.14 seconds away. She is 20 years old. Sha'Carri Richardson has not raced her yet. The Los Angeles Olympics are in 2028. Hodge will be 22. If you think you already know how this story ends, you are not paying close enough attention. A 21-year-old football player from a town nobody has heard of just beat the Olympic champion in a sprint race. Then he flew overseas for the very first time in his life, hit a blood clot the size of a soccer ball in his arm, and won the world title anyway. His name is Jordan Anthony, and nobody saw any of this coming. Jordan Anthony grew up in Tylertown, Mississippi, population under 2,000. His dream was not a sprint world title. It was the Heisman Trophy. He wanted to be a football star. His father, Robert Jones, was a football coach. The sport ran through the whole family, but college football did not go the way he planned. He played at 3 schools: Kentucky, Texas A&M, then Arkansas. At Arkansas, he caught 8 passes for 111 yards and